Welcome back, everyone. It is the Valorant Game Changers presented to you by Verizon. We just saw the first match of the day. It was DSG taking a very convincing map number 1 against SHFT here. I want to start things off because we were talking about this in the green room, Dryad. Reyna. You were so happy. Show off those nails. Let's talk about her.
Oh, look, I got the Reyna nails. So I'm more than happy to see this Reyna being played out. And honestly, if I was going to expect a Reyna from somebody, it was not going to be Tupperware. It was actually going to be Jade, who we know loves playing that Reyna. But that combination of those two duelists worked out just fine. A dominant performance that they had, and something that the casters were saying over and over again, right? It was the comfortability of all the ideas that they had, all the practice that DSG has been putting and now developing into this fun composition that we go way back last year, even longer, and we used to see this Reyna Jet that works out perfectly. Sometimes I would still like to bring it up. I feel like we've seen it from Fluorescent and version 1 at some point in the past, but Tupperware putting some numbers for sure. And it was just because of the many ideas that they had, right? Tupperware sometimes playing a little bit more aggressive on the defensive side, pushing that B long and finding any space possible to give no chances to shift.
And forgive me for not adding Reyna to the list of agents that Tupperware was going to play. I was not expecting this at all. I don't think SHFT was expecting this. And as you mentioned, Triad, so aggressive, so confident, kind of the start that they needed, especially from their IGL, right? If everybody was nervous about this matchup, because 4 of the players really are, Tupperware could not feel those same nerves. And if she was feeling them, it did not show them at all.
And that's the confidence, right? When you're gonna pull out a play like a Reyna and a composition with a Reyna and the double duelist, you need to be confident, and that is exactly what we saw from Tupperware. It's funny because we were looking at the agents that she was playing last year and overall, and out of all the possibilities, we were looking at controllers, initiators, but the Reyna was not in the table, and I love to see that change.
Yeah, it was definitely an out-of-pocket. It's almost like DSG, they've shared so much with us already with their scrims and their comms, but look, they're still managing to pull out some out-of-pocket surprises here. Now, I mean, just with the overall performance, I guess the question that I want to ask as far as like how Icebox is, we know that Tupperware is the IGL. I guess I'll ask this question for you first, Tanner, is there... like, what are the pros and cons of an IGL rocking that duelist role versus like a controller or initiator? Because we did not see that shown by Tupperware. It did not seem to phase her.
Yeah, I think the pros and cons, the one that stands out the most is you are getting the information for yourself. You're not having to ask your team to feed you the information. So you get the information firsthand, and then you can look to make plays based off of that. Or if you're looking to find a pick, I actually heard in one of their VODs, I think it was 1 we fake, 2 we take. A kind of an idea behind if we find one pick, we fake that we hit this site, we go somewhere else. If we find 2 picks, then we're just going to go ahead and take that site. And Tupperware now doesn't need to rely on somebody to make that play while they're defaulting, because she can be the player that is actually finding that pick, if not finding the second one, calling that rotation, and it's happening immediate versus it happening kind of understanding the situation on the right side of the map while she's reading the left side of the map because she's IGLing and she's not a part of that play. So yeah, getting that information directly to, I guess, Tupperware as a whole. I thought we were getting some replays or something there. I think that's the biggest pro in playing an aggressive duelist role for your IGL.
That's the thing, right? It's a very high risk, high reward kind of play and composition for this Reyna. And we don't see too many of those IGLs also taking that frag and roll to the best of their abilities. But if someone's going to do it, it has to be Tupperware, right? And I mean, doing it to perfection, even when she's going for those aggression pushes and going by herself pretty much when you have those flashes and that ability to go back and dismiss. When you have that chance, and that also gives a little more confidence, which is everything that we're talking about. It's a good way to have them start off. And when they were starting and getting those rounds, I mean, also winning the bonus and everything else, just the momentum was already on the side of DSG.
I do want to mention for both of these teams, obviously you could see that the nerves were there. It's unfortunate that SHFT, it didn't seem that they were able to kind of shake that off towards the end of the game. We saw a couple of lost duels, some gunfights. I think it was Amy who was posted up inside Nest, deep inside A main defending. loses the fight to Tupperware. We see Quarter Jade finding a kill across the map as well.
Yeah.
So a lot of nerves there. Not to say that DSG didn't also show that. We saw a few missed op shots, but as the game went on, everybody started shoring up kind of the minor mistakes they were making because they were a little nervous.
Now, with the map number 1 out of the way, shaken, nerves removed, that was DSG's map pick of choice. And as we're getting ready into map number 2, are we looking for Shift X here to remove some of the issues that they had perhaps in the first map? It is going to be Haven for map number 2. Now, Tanner, do you feel like that they're going to come out with something out of pocket? Maybe your favorite Gecko coming into play right now?
As much as I would like to see it, I do think a map down and on a map that we haven't quite seen the Gecko just yet, it would be a little strange. I think what speaks to me about moving out towards the next 2 map, Iceboxes is a relatively, I don't think niche is the right word, but a lot of teams at the highest level do not like to play Icebox. So for DSG to pick that one up and get that win, I think Shift X can look at that one and say, okay, they're an Icebox team. And I feel like that's kind of the trope in Valorant. You either are an Icebox team or you aren't an Icebox team. Now, the next 2 maps, I mean, they're as vanilla as it gets. I guess Haven has like sprinkles on the vanilla ice cream, but Ascent is vanilla ice cream. That's it. So I think it bodes well going to Haven, a very comfortable map for everybody. Obviously DSG have been scrimming this one on stream, so there is some takeaways for it. I know there were some 10s and Quarter Jade one-on-one. They were running one-on-ones, kind of learning how to op and how to play certain angles. So yeah. I think Shift X should have a better chance as we look towards a more default structured map like Haven.
And that's it. Also, default structure metas and compositions that I'm expecting from them. Sure, we might be seeing a double duelist once again coming through, but I don't think it's going to be the Geckos or the Reynas again, because this is a map that does become a little more complicated when it comes to those newer agents and even a Reyna that might not get as much value. So you could be expecting a double duelist comp and Quarter Jade potentially still on this jet. Like Tanner was saying, we got to see some clips, we got to see some streams of the players learning how to op and get those op angles. So there's a good chance to really show off how that practice is looking.
Now, are we were messing around a little bit in the green room here, this conversation. So I'm going to put this on you here, Dryad. Are we going to see a map number 3?
We're not going to be seeing a map number 3. I'm thinking DSG, they already got the confidence going. They got the momentum from that first map and the practice and everything. And it seems like they can close it into.
I mean, I can't really turn my head. I don't actually know which side you're on my screen, Tanner, but we do have Agent Select coming in. So you're getting it safe here. And I'm curious to see if... Well, okay, actually, they're not ready yet, but that's all good. That looks like you're back in the hot seat, Tanner. Do you agree with Dryad? Do you? Yes? Yes, because I agree. I agree. I'm putting my seat with Dryad here.
I am, well, then you guys are together on that one, because I'm sticking to my guns. I think, like I said, you're either an Icebox team or you're not an Icebox team. I think Haven and Ascent look good for a team that it's a little less wacky to play those maps, and DSG, they do wacky better than Shift X. So as we move out to Haven, like I said, vanilla with sprinkles, I think this is Shift X map.
Gotcha. Okay, so while we're getting the lobby situated, I do have one more question here for the both of you, and I'm just like a little bit curious. You mentioned that you're expecting a double duelist lineup once again here. Do you think that, I know I've seen DSG rocking a double initiator lineup instead. What are the odds of when you're up a map or when you're down a map, do you start thinking about comfort over what's meta? I'll start with you, Dryad.
To me, there's a couple teams for some specific maps where you'll be practicing two compositions, and I've heard it from players directly, but that's not very common because you only have so much practice in one map, so you're going to be playing that composition, and if there's going to be a comfort, it's going to be that composition where you got practice on, not so much the comfort of specific agents for specific players.
Okay. Got it. And it looks like, are we ready in a game now? Okay, so it looks like we are ready in the game, so I'm gonna toss it to the casters. Gompers, Vans, take it away.
All right, that second game that you've all been waiting for. Of course, excited to be back with you, Vans, for this, opportunity to see whether or not Shift can actually win the second map and possibly take it to a third.
Oh yeah, super excited for this one as well. This is finally going into Shift's map pick 2. When I look back into the records of what Shift was bringing out as well on Haven, when they were like Ara or any other teams that they were playing, they were focusing a lot on a lot of stuns and concusses, a breach and a neon. Maybe even a Sky going into the rotation as well. So I'm expecting there's going to be a lot of fight for A side control on a map like Haven, but this could definitely all change now. Now that you had more reps, this was also like an era where I think they were using a chamber too as their quote-unquote duelist, right? So and now that chamber is, well, I guess you had a neon there, but it was like a neon chamber, and your chamber was the Opper. But if you're not going to use a chamber anymore and you want to bring out a Jet, then that might change the composition in itself. So I'm intrigued to see what Shift is going to bring out. But to start things off on DSG, to already see Quarter Jade insta-lock into this Jet, I am not mad at that at all, because she has been popping off on that first map. And I love it that we're continuing with that confidence onto this map as well. And there you go. You see a little bit of that change. You still have that breach that comes out, but you're really focusing now on a Jet instead of a neon, because you want to try to have that type of Opper and that type of like quote-unquote almost free escapability off that Jet. So it's a slight change, but overall still a mirror comp between these two teams. So it really comes down to who really has it down pat. This is something that actually as a coach or probably as an IGL, you're kind of happy, right? Because especially if you're Tupperware trying to build up your team for the first time, trying to IGL your team for the first time, it's like, oh, well, I'm actually going to be IGLing against the exact mirror composition that I'm running out. So I know how to play around this. This is going to be exciting.
I'm more so excited for the fact that when we're looking at the minimap, we're seeing Jazz just putting tons of util down on C-site. You got 3 players watching that here, 2 down in garage. There's a lot of coverage here for a team like Shift, and honestly, I mean, this might be the best read of all, because they can possibly go off on this, but Quarter Jade already creating that space and managing to completely eliminate all of that util down.
But Shift did a very good job to actually stack 4 players more towards this B side, so this could become a fast retake. Paranoia is still available for Ari, a Flash and Trailblazer, and even a Flash from Breach. This could overwhelm everybody inside the C site from DSG. Wait, we're not using any of it. There it is.
Yeah. First they make the space. Now it seems like your Shift is taking it back. I mean, overall, right, you got so many players playing on that retake, preying on their own success. It seems like right now might just be the time to do so. Right clicks left and right. City on though, left alone down inside of the smoke. But it's perfectly intact. And DSG in seconds, they managed to bring it back.
Somebody checked Sirion's PC, and all of the shots really just landed onto the fuser. That was kind of sick. But yeah, I had a huge like triple question mark of like, hey, what's going on there? That, you know, that meme when the guy's like shoulder shrugging, like, what is this? Why did Amy just run into the site when she still had a flash available so that it could actually overflood the C site on top of the Paranoia? But at least they got a couple of kills. They did a great job flooding into that. Really came down to a 2v2, and you kind of had to get lucky in the end for DSG to land those shots through the smoke, and thankfully Sirion did. So that allows DSG to get this pistol round, put a default into their second round. You see how passively we're playing this right now, trying to find information off this turret, trying to see if Shift is going to go for a trap play into mid. And as we're clearing out slowly but surely, we're going to start activating here, scaling up towards this towards the mid, forcing out maybe somebody to push off orbs being picked up, off noise that could be done. But Shift, they're just waiting to play the off angle pretty much on the close range. No shorties, all classics right clicks, with the exception of Ellie here with this frenzy long range on sewers.
Yeah, they had such a good run here coming down on C side. I think as it stands, Sidion is actually trying to lure some of these players down to allow that A site entry to come through. But you see the jiggle peaks down. You can listen into it too. DSG, I mean, they're on a good run. They're going to have to take this first pick through. And it, again, right, they have the Spectres to really pull through with this narrative. So they're going to do so.
There's definitely an opportunity there to win that fight into window if Sidian moved a little bit earlier than she did and then get caught off guard. But turns out that it's going to be all okay here for DSG in their gun round in the anti-eco. They're looking to get a flawless into this round here too. Nice utility to delay everything else just to make sure that we keep that economy up if we can. The positions are perfect. It's going to be very hard here for the last two players to do that type of econ damage that we're looking for the defense.
Yeah, but a flash starting off. We got information. Okay, somebody's watching this. Quarter Jade keeping things nice and tight. Although at this point, just really trying to get themselves eliminated towards that spike. Maybe looking for some exit frags as well for Shift. That's as much as they can play for.
Yeah, so going off with the spike, I like this as well. Not giving any orbs away to the attack either onto DSG. So that's going to make it a little bit more difficult for Tenzin, Tupperware to build up the orbs, because it looks like we're focusing a lot here on Sidian to get the lockdown ASAP. You saw her leading towards the C site earlier on, getting 2 kills. I think 1 or 2 off the Spectre. That's really good to start building it up. And that could build potentially not into this bonus round, because you don't get the kills on the last 2 players. So this is actually really well done here for Shift, moving into their weapon round over here. But that said, you see the default that they're currently running every single round. They always have this breach and this jet on the A side, but Cut is the one that's playing the Sky inside Garage to try to find that info early. So I like that they still have good positioning, but the flood's coming in.
Oh, Cut actually stood there. They waited for the entry to come through. Jade, though, again, such a big space created for this team, and they're going to continue to do so. The pressure a bit too much, coming down towards the back of sight, stunned out, but it's Jazz making the effort to continue. You got that 3 health left. They have to try to fight down towards inside of the smoke. Nobody knows just yet. Once that dissipation comes through, there is a possibility, and it's another one down for Josh. Anything and everything that Shift is doing right now in this moment, they've put themselves and set themselves up for success. It's up to Amy to continue that.
Almost there. They were definitely set up for success, as you mentioned, Gophers. That paranoia that was thrown out from Ari to deny that push, that flood that was coming out from DSG, to really try to catch that Sky off guard, to try to catch Cut already inside Garage, was beautifully done. But after you forfeit it towards Garage and you still want to play an off, or like out in the open to try to catch somebody off an off angle moving into Garage, a beautiful fault line came out from Tupperware, and the trades just came through immensely well for DSG, and a backstab on top of that to win that bonus round. So, like I said, the idea of what they have on where they're positioning their initiators to find you information is actually quite nice. But after forfeiting the initial spots of holding Garage or holding towards the A lobby and stuff, they're really losing the retake game, not able to get that going in their favor. So this is another bonus round that was won by DSG over the series. And it's, at this point, not looking too good, but this is still attacker half of Haven. This is still something that Shift could turn around. This is still something that's super early in this game.
Yeah, the C-side's looking attractive, though, especially to the side of DSG. You got 2 players already down, so the Flash is completely eliminated, at least from the Sky. You got Amy there with a couple of things to put out themselves, though, and it's already starting. Slowly working up. I'm surprised Amy's not using the util. Instead, they're waiting to push up, trying to isolate the fight instead of pick off these players with the utility handed. And it leaves L needing to fight for something by themselves, absolutely naked.
Yeah. Well, so far in these rounds for DSG, there was only really 1 round where they flooded into that Garage was their bonus, but everything else always looked pretty slow on how they wanted to work the map, how they wanted to work the default. So I think there's a great opportunity here now for Shift to try to find that opportunity of, okay, is it going to be a fast Garage hit? If not, they're defaulting somewhere. They had the idea of pushing those 2 players out towards the A-long. I want to see more of that, especially when it comes down to a point where Ellie is going to be able to have an operator. But this round, it's a Blade Storm to potentially to try to get control down towards C-long. Or Vandal instead.
Well, they pushed it too far, Vance. They didn't see Kaide. They pushed that stun, my apologies, Flash a bit too far. Down towards C-long. Missed out on the Kaide shot, but now it's Ari. I don't even know how they didn't hear that, but Quarter Jade unfortunately goes down as well. You see so much potential for Shift.
Might try to do a Rolling Thunder flood into side, especially with the amount of noise that you're currently making here on the attack. But all of that util, they never identified the Killjoy where the Killjoy is currently playing, and it's towards this A site. And I like that we're actually saving that Rolling Thunder for a post plant instead.
Spike planted.
This is so much delay here for a post plant with DSG. Very hard to retake from the spawn side. There's that fall line to start. You still have an aftershock, a flash, a Rolling Thunder, and the perfect timing.
Destroyed.
Yeah, but this time I'm looking for that util. Again, last time we were sitting around down on Icebox, we talked about the fact that the utility seems to be the only thing that we don't seem to get. Majority of the time, the smoke creating that coverage there for the defense. Shift, though, slowly getting to work up and falling down for DSG. The detain comes down, and it's beautiful. But Tension's still working it up, and it's the 1v1. So much tension, so much time and effort put into this just to lose it out again because it's DSG. Not enough time for Shift. And, I mean, at this point, a 5-0 and a Red Bull clutch.
That was so well done to start things off for Shift. The surprise kill that they've gone on to Tupperware inside Hell. Losing that fight there for me was like, oh crap, they actually have this because everybody else is playing so passively, but with the time that was remaining on the lockdown, Ari moved forward just to tap the spike, tries to run away and gets detained. And because she gets detained, there's 2 individual 1v1s that was given there to Tenzin to eventually become a 3 1v1 that Tenzin was able to win in the end thanks to the spike time. A slight error that becomes very costly for Shift, because now they're on a broken econ into this round here.
Yeah, the only person who can possibly win for this one, especially with a triple, actually 4-man push coming through from B. Now slowly backing themselves off. They leave Cud alone. I mean, my question is, did they communicate what was going on, or was it just the space taking that they were looking for to leave Cud left alone? But nice for Maybe to get that refrag through.
Yeah. Feels like there was definitely some sort of trap player trying to do with Cud with a flash, because it seems like she had a flash stuck in her hands, but the owl drone, the ping, the information gathering that came out from Tenzin was perfect here for DSG to react upon, which now pivots everybody towards this A site. You have a fault line, a recon dart ready for a hit. Pretty sure you want to try to save this Rolling Thunder into a following round. So Shift at this point, it's just going to be the same story here, Gums. Just try to play the retake from the lower weaponry that they currently have, with the exception of the Phantom they picked up from Kaide.
30 seconds left.
It's still going to be very difficult.
Oh, this is a nice Rolling Thunder. You can see they're pushing off of this, but the shots missed out. Ellie, lucky enough to be able to move up this time, creating some space here for the team, but it's always going to be the situation of where is everybody else? The refrags not consistently coming through. Sidion and Tupperware left alone, but Amy so low to the point where if Tupperware peaks this, it could be the win for this round. And again, the game consistently leading in favor for DSG.
Missed timing, unfortunately. A nice Rolling Thunder that came out from Tupperware because they wanted to decide to fight towards spawn. I thought they were going to save it, but good on them to try to want to fight it. But that counter that came out from the Rolling Thunder on defense, beautifully done. Just unfortunate on that timing that Amy was trying to come out from the window and try to get Bladestorm kills from behind. Gets hit by her teammates Rolling Thunder, so couldn't get the Bladestorm kills. At least got a right-click kill, but a better timing on dropping outside of the window, especially with Bladestorm, maybe could have capitalized on 2 more kills on top of that. So, unfortunately, a Rolling Thunder wasted on the attempt that they had with the lower buy. Thankfully, they still have a lockdown into this round here, but look at the positioning from Ellie.
Ooh. Okay, an updraft and a tailwind completely wasted out, but luckily enough, getting away just in time. But it seems like DSG aren't afraid of that. They've put their foot forward, and they've told themselves, you know what, we're going to stay here for a bit, feel the feelings out, get that rotation down.
Exactly, get the rotation down, try to figure out where we're going here. Owl drone coming up towards mid, that's going to get hurt by the Omen. So Ari decides to smoke towards the front B, so great delay. Great way of playing the advantage of numbers here. Give it the B site, want to play the retake, off angle behind the boxes. This might not get cleared. This is the first time that somebody plays behind these boxes. And despite, if nobody's pushing in the front here, that's still great information for Ari to say they're pulling back from garage. This could be a hit towards B, and that's where Ellie's positioned up with the op.
Ooh, and a shot. Yeah, nice off Ellie. Still keeping the space and keeping the peace. As Quarter Jade goes down, you miss out on the space. You miss out on the opportunity that was already
30
there.
seconds left.
Looking for that refrag.
Enemy remains.
Not able to get it. Ori looking for a flank and is able to retrieve it. I mean, at this point, it really is DSG kind of looking like a deer in headlights here, especially within this round. Finally, a nice flawless.
Yeah, give that MVP over there to Ari, even if it only was, or at least for that round, even if it was only off one kill with the backstab. Like I said, to get all the information from that aggressive position, you're playing a huge one and done, high risk, high reward that allows Ellie to be in position to get these 2 kills this way. And because of that, right, you create ruckus towards the B main. Nobody's going to be watching the flank. Everybody's going to be hyper-focused on trying to take down the Opper. And then you get a timing to get a backstab just like Ari did. Very well done. And that was the type of things that I was seeing from DSG's practice, where sometimes in that mid-round, when you're stunned by the Op and you're so focused on trying to see if the Op's going to re-peak, instead of trying to figure out, okay, what could be the next step going on for DSG, that's what I was seeing. And that's a great way there that Shift took an opportunity of that to put the first round onto the board.
Watch them run.
Yeah, Shift kind of lacking though on the exposure going out on the defense. It feels like they've kept themselves onto site for a very, very long time, not fighting for anything different. I mean, the flank last game worked out perfectly because it was away from those tendencies, and it was a slight surprise. Finding out that first shot, though, that's going to be big. Missing out on the breach for your team on the entry is immense.
Yeah, breach falling early, but at least that's Tupperware. RGLA now could basically play a different game and just put the players around the map and see how they could activate here. So that mid-round where I said, okay, what do you do on the next round? You have all of that vision now from Tupperware. But at least for Shift, it's going to be a flash off the contact off this Omen to re-swing out.
No contact. Yeah, not needed at all. They're pretty much chill with it, it seems like. Quarter Jade, I've noticed, you know, their entries are always there, looking solid. They're not afraid to peek when needed, especially for this team, for the victory of them as well. But it seems like Shift, I mean, not giving into this pressure. It's DSG going down, and Shift just take it.
That was nice by Cut. Playing around the boxes, catching one from behind, and then actually getting the flash to delay enough for everybody else to rotate across. And you heard the flashes coming from behind too in her POV. So Amy coming out from support too with the flash points. Beautifully done on the hold. And it still comes down once again to a player disadvantage. Off and up that comes out on the defense here from Ellie. A pick around 2 rounds ago, down towards Sewers. A pick this time down towards C Long. It really, now it becomes a story of that Quarter Jade on Icebox. They have now, for DSG, figure out how they could start opening up the map, try to find out where Ellie's currently playing, and you're playing double initiator on top of that into this map instead of a single initiator. So you have an opportunity to really try to push her away, find that information, maybe even start playing those lurks that we haven't seen yet from DSG, because the simple open up a fight, splitting into sites has been working out for them, because Shift has been struggling on retakes in the earlier rounds of the half.
Yeah, I think Shift as well has been doing very, very good at isolating their fights. You know, seeing Tupperware go down in that first couple seconds was big on their part, because they kind of weakened their community a bit. And now, you know, you had everybody trying to get those entries in. Quarter Jade, you know, missing out on a lot of that entry, on a lot of that clearing space because of that lack of utility. So,
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, overall for DSG, the biggest issue there was, you know, taking these solo fights and leading into that situation.
I think the biggest issue right now is the technical issue. Unfortunately, it slows down the game. Sorry, chatters. Sorry, I know it's cringe. But remember, chat, I am an old grandpa. I am a prehistoric dinosaur in esports.
Oh, gosh. What kind of dinosaur would you be, though? Well, I mean, like, what?
I don't think I'd be a T-Rex.
No?
I feel like a Triceratops is like kind of like a nice dinosaur. You know, I don't think it's like a ferocious dinosaur. I feel like I'd be a Triceratops. I look fierce, but I'm also very nice and cuddly. You know, I try to be like that.
Okay, I could see that. I could see that.
But if you try to screw with me, then you still get the horns. You see what I mean? Like, I think a Triceratops has it all.
Yeah,
it's also an amazing Power Ranger. Sorry, go ahead.
Power Ranger.
Yeah, Triceratops, the Blue Ranger.
I didn't know that was a Power Ranger.
The Blue Ranger calls a Triceratops.
I might be too young.
Yeah, damn it! I gave my age again. But yeah, we'll wait for the players to come back in, but we've mentioned it before here. You know, Ellie coming out with the operator, and this seems to be, you know, the strong point that you currently have for Shift currently to string those 2 rounds that they currently have right now. Currently on the top of the board, 12-6 in 2, trying to figure things out from, you know, the aggressive angles that she's getting. And when you're funneling everybody across on the other end, like, yes, maybe it looks like Cut is not performing as well, at least on the scoreboard. But when you look at the utility that she's been using, she's not getting any assists off the flash that she's doing, but she's also allowing that information to be picked off once she realizes that, okay, Ellie gets first blood. I'm going to go for a flash probably at the minute mark. I get some information there or non-information. It allows then for Jazz and Ari to be ready to really try to go for that Nanoswarm Paranoia anchor type of setup, that they've been doing towards the C site. And if it's not for that, then it's still a lot of utility that's able to be saved from Shift's side, so that when it comes down to the retake into the other part of the map, then they have that utility available. But that has to be that goal for DSG. Get into that site, get that plant, because as I mentioned just before, Shift aren't doing too well of a job on these retakes on this map of Haven.
Yeah, DSG have slowed their roll down a bit, actually, as you say that. Noticing that once they attempt to take space, whether it be down A long or C long, and a pick comes through, they tend to feel as if that second plan isn't ready, and they weren't prepared for a situation like that. And that's actually, I feel like, a weakness that can really shine if Shift takes advantage of it. So for DSG, you know, having that second plan, having that backup to really push themselves even further would definitely be a way to keep things going. Maybe even, like you said, right, take Shift, put them in an uncomfortable situation down on that defense, trying to play that retake as well. But overall, I mean, it really does feel like Shift is starting to bring up their momentum a bit. They're feeling comfortable, and not only that, but Elle is stepping it up tremendously throughout this whole entire game.
Definitely. And let's talk about players that are really stepping up too, and let's talk about the level of comfort that we're currently seeing as well. Like Sidian going into playing this Killjoy has popped off, had some great saves going into the pistol rounds, especially with the way that she's been spamming through that smoke to deny that plant from going through. But I also like here where, you know, there's been a lot of conversations around what this team could look like. Their opening game here at the Game Changers North America Series number 3, the qualifiers that's been going very well for DSG so far. And for a team that maybe had a little bit of flack from the community to say they're not going to be ready, this could be a type of joke or something like that. Well, joke's on you, community. They actually look very, very drilled. Great protocols. It definitely shows that there's been a lot of hours put into this individually, as well as with Ruin, their current coach. Because I've also been watching a couple of Ruin streams where he, you know, I think Sajidin was talking about the one-on-one between Kaide and Tens as a coach, but Ruin was doing the same thing with Sidian to try to understand the role of the Sentinel a little bit more, and also trying to give that reassurance to Quarter Jade of like, you definitely could do what you could do here as a Jet, very similar of how you want to play that Reyna, right? Starting to push forward and then go for a pick, dash away. Yes, you can't dismiss, but the idea is like, at this point, you have a free escapability even if you don't land your shot. And I think that brings a lot of confidence for new Jet players now to understand that if you're always used to playing a Reyna, switching over to a Jet ain't that bad after all when you're still able to escape the way that you do. So I really like what I'm seeing as well from DSG of how they've already, you know, grown in the past 3 weeks of practice that they've got.
Absolutely. And yeah, it is surprising too, because 3 weeks worth of effort
Out of charges.
playing in a tournament where people have been playing for years,
Yeah.
and you know, performing this well. It does really show you it's not about the time. It's about the effort, the dedication, the amount of love you have for this game. And DSG putting their best foot forward. Right now, we're going to be able to see exactly how that's going to work out. Already, the Hunter, Suri, L boosting themselves up in a nice spot, but God, not even cleared out. Quarter Jade, once that smoke goes down, they go down as well. Super, super big shots coming through, especially in a situation like this one. Ellie bringing out the operator, try to play down inside of these positions, but the TP, I'm surprised it works so well. Already peeking through. The one-on-one advantage coming through. Down for Shift. They're isolating these fights like crazy. Now you leave Tenzin alone. Yeah.
The DSG definitely wanted to come off this technical pause. By the way, thank you for your patience, chat. It was just Amy that needed to come back into the server, but they really just wanted to come out swinging off the gates. A nice little combination off the Hunter's Fury into the C side for the explosion. But as I've mentioned before, having Jas anchoring up or helping out to be able to rotate around too, and a site that she's comfortable to play in was very well done overall with the amount of trades that we were able to do here for Shift. So you're forcing now a 2v1 on the other end of the
30
map.
seconds left.
This is still an ult retake that could be available. This could be another one of those moments where Shift was like, okay, I know we've used a Hunter's Fury as an overkill, but you kind of want to get these overkills to make sure that you guarantee these rounds. So especially with that, what just happened here to get this type of plant, if you're able to ult into the regular spot, then you're really clearing out the whole site, right? And you're now confirming that Tenzin is playing off-site on A.
I think there is potential here, though, as the spike is planted right now. And just as I say that, right, we're seeing a lockdown. This is big off of Jas. This is going to solidify that spot coming down into this, unless Tenzin, I mean, looking like they're already seeking out that corner, possibly taking the fights here. And this is risky, right? They get the dart coming through to get the information and isolate. But again,
it's have to.
I mean, there is still time. Yeah. Ellie gonna be able to take that down. But that was a good plan. I liked what Tenzin was throwing out there.
It was going to be a definitely different story if she actually did get the pick off onto that Killjoy right away onto Jas, and that probably would have been another clutch coming in from Tenzin to win it off time. But that's what I was talking about, trying to identify what you currently had on a 2 versus, or what you're up against rather on a 2 versus 1. I feel that if you've identified that it was going to be a lockdown potential, then you would have played that sewers. You saw she was trying to play a plant 4 sewers to try to peek off in that area. But because of that lockdown that came out, she was forced out in the open, was already spotted hiding in the corner of long, couldn't get her crosshair placement out before, and it becomes a clutch here in for Shift. A much needed round that puts them up at 3. Blade Storm being pulled out into this round, that's in the hands of Quarter Jade. Clearing out with an knowledge going into the C site. Could be a fake overall here, as Quarter Jade already dashed into the site, and look at that rotate that it pulls out.
Yeah, they're coming in big on this one.
Wait a minute. Sorry about that, Goppers. Because we didn't get any pressure coming out from Quarter Jade, she just said, come into the site, let's go for a plant, we'll just play it on a pulse plant here on C instead.
Seek them.
That's a brilliant plan, though, too, right here. Okay, tension's running high. Jas still being able to pick these shots off. I mean, look at the headshots still through. Wall banging it down, and they run away with the knife. They didn't even try, Vance, to fight that, let alone even stick there. They didn't want to reload. They didn't want to do anything here. Already half, like you said, and Ellie just keeps on shooting all the way around. They leave Tenzin again in a 1v2, but we saw how that went the last time.
Nice battle into Garage too for our DSG. I think the last few rounds, like even that pistol round, when they were all playing towards that long seaside, it's very dangerous when, you know, you could still play against a smoker on the retake. So I like that you're trying to play, you're trying to take Garage instead. Seeker's really fumbled the plans though of DSG, adding that pressure into Garage, potentially even trying to go for a fight into window towards spawn. And with all those kills, we still adapted on the fly. The one-way smokes that was thrown out towards Kaide really would have given an opportunity there for Tenzin to maybe get a couple more picks. But having Cud still alive with the flashes into the C side, very difficult to play on the pulse plant. So Shift did a very good job here of just fighting back and anchoring their synergy on the retake.
A lot of the time, it does feel like that Killjoy util coming down from Shift tends to just give away some information. And not a lot of stall, though. Tons of information coming down, especially with that Trailblazer. The slow workup, but they managed to escape it. Wow, in seconds. So nice. You can see exactly why everything works out the way it does. Quarter Jade whipping the shots. They could have put themselves in a good position. They could have taken that 2-player advantage. But down into this, the Rolling Thunder comes through. You said it best. Kaide left alone. Looking at that stun as it seems right now, DSG and Tenzin is putting the shots to work. Cud, though, I mean, 46 health left. The 1v3 still down. And as it seems right now, I mean, a dub unavailable for Shift.
That was so good by DSG.
Last round
A
before
lower
the switch.
buy that you had on the attack, so you wanted to go for the standard, hey, let's actually have our jet move in and try to dash away. The idea for Shift to deny even more on that first set of utility, to deny the plant, not allowing Quarter J to actually dash away, but off a plant she gets hit by a Trailblazer and puts both smokes on the ground. So that's what I'm talking about. Somebody who's actually always used to playing into arena, excuse me, and then switching over into a jet that looks shaky at the beginning and is able to think on the fly that way. Technically, I think that was really nice, but that also allowed for Tupperware to move into the garage and get that kill because everybody was so focused on fighting in front of that B main. Activated the Rolling Thunder, and that was just that last piece that was needed to allow DSG to play the way that they did on the post plan, take advantage of those that got hit by the Rolling Thunder. You saw Kaido move in with the Sheriff. It was just a really nice eco round, or thrifty round that was being bought in here for DSG. A great call there for Tupperware. And unfortunately with that, it goes into another situation where we've lost a player and are waiting for that player to move back into the server.
Yeah, overall, everything from DSG coming through. It does feel like they've changed their momentum up a bit instead of, you know, really trying to play extended out towards site. They got the spike down and they left that situation almost immediately, playing for that post plant, making sure that the lies are there, and play with Tupperware's util, which is honestly the best way you could go about this.
Yeah. And looks like we got an update here, chat. It's just an issue with one of the mice of DSG, so we're just waiting to get that sorted out and we can get back into the last round of the half. But overall, I still like how we played this here for DSG to be able to get that round. Sorry, I just got production in my ear saying it's actually the plural of mice or mouse, it's Mises. Correct me if I'm wrong here, chat. Correct me there. We'll take all the comments and the recommendations here in the chat. So that said, waiting for this to start things off, but it's getting pretty competitive at this point. We're still seeing some good stuff coming out of Shift. This is all, again, one heroic play of a huge ult that came out from Tupperware that really disrupted that retake that came out from Shift. But when it comes down to Shift to play on the attack, this double initiator setup that you currently have will potentially even allow Elle to create that space that she does. She's been on point, warming up here on this first half, as you're currently seeing here on the scoreboard at 16-7 with the operator. But if she's going to start rifling here on the attack, this could be, you know, Shift slowly come back into the game on the attack.
Yeah, and Quarter Jade, you know, looking at Quarter Jade, looking at the performance so far, I'm going to be real with you, fans. We haven't even unlocked the full potential of Quarter Jade, right? Once we switch over to that defense and once we pan down to what Quarter Jade can do with it, the amount of space we're probably going to be taking up towards C long or even A long, right? Those are factors that can bleed heavily into how this game is going to go during that second half. And I feel like right now, Quarter Jade not shining the best, but eventually there is going to be that opportunity moving forward, especially with the assistance coming through from Tupperware.
Yeah, it actually gives me time to talk about that a little bit more too. One more little thing about this, about Quarter Jade playing all over the Jet. I'll say it really quickly at this time. Because when she was playing Jet before in the scripts, wasn't moving that much, and being the second entry instead of being the lead entry, the lead diver into the maps. I like here the change that it doesn't matter if you're actually dying, you're actually creating that space first, and your team's coming in behind you as well. So even if it doesn't show on the scoreboard, you are doing your job and you're playing confidently. I mean, look at that. Off the fault line through, you're activating it forward, you're moving forward, and you're fighting against the Opper. Not afraid to move forward, not afraid of dying because you can't re-heal, right? You're so used to getting a kill and a healing, and get a heal, as Arena. This time it's just like, let me just do whatever I can, do the best that I could, and then let my team do the best if I can't get the increase.
Oh, and it's been a while since we've been able to see an A hit, but as it starts off right now, you can see the Rolling Thunder comes down. It makes these players want to leave. And at this point, DSG, they're keeping their ground. They're keeping their stance as well. I mean, an 8-4 plausible. Jas left alone. Not going to be able to pick off any fights. It's the cohesion coming through from Tenzin and Sidion that keeps them alive.
Yeah. Nice attempt for a Shift on that last round. Rolling Thunder with an aftershock, but unfortunately, wasn't pushing out the players from the corner. So you played some tight angles on a crossfire down towards sewers. There was not extra utility that really blinded the players down towards that sewers, and that just showed DSG winning that last round and eventually leading the half 8-4 as we're looking at these replays. Like I said, it looked really good and dominating for DSG. I saw it in the chat as well. It looked like it was going to be a 12-0 at the half. But Shift did a great job once they finally started getting that operator out in the hands of Ellie. And we're trying to see if she's going to be the one activated onto the attack this time as well. As we'll have a chance to talk about it, right? We're in another tech pause. I feel like I've become the Hypoc and Pansy of North America now since we started with the VCTs.
Really?
All over the weekend, I was just in LA doing the opening with Riv, and then we were the only ones getting the tech pauses, and now I'm getting it with you. So I think I'm the problem, chat. I'm the problem. even Hypoc's in the chat seeing the technical pause. What's up, Hypoc?
Yeah, you've taken his brand. It's pretty much over at this point.
I'm now Van Poc or Poc Silly.
I mean, hey, at this point, listen, Pansy or Hypoc, if you ever need a fill-in, like, you know, Vance is there with you.
At least they're not as long, right? At least they're not as long as the tech pauses that we get from Panpoc. But let's look at this round. The Pisseron's already here. We have a heavy aggression from the defenders of DSG out towards the window, and that's a nice flash to start.
Trying to shoot through the wall to get some damage there. Already looking out, and again, right, we see that second half, we see that space being taken up by DSG, and this is exactly what I was hoping to see. They're so good at making these executions come down and getting these early fights.
Running right into Sidian's utility, but Sidian's in a one and done, so she's gonna get flashed out. Nice utility delay. Oh my god, I even get to kill on top of that because of the alarm bot. Did her job. Got a 1-for-1, 3 versus 3 on a retake. Shock darts to delay. We're gonna flood out soon. Flash, fault line available in 2 seconds. There's that flash.
The amount of information to gathered up here. Okay, well, you know, I thought it was going in the way of DSG. The amount of trades coming down was immense. But I guess Shift not having a retake this time and just needing to keep the control is really faring out even better.
Feels like even, look at that drop right there. So they had the flash coming out, and when we dropped down towards the boxes, nobody was dropping down to fight hell. I feel there was a miscommunication there of how you wanted to retake the site, so it allows Shift to get every individual 1v1s won in their favor, including one of them being a backstab. So a great way to start things off on the attack for Shift. Weapons coming out into this round, full eco, and look at DSG, a 4-player push down towards Long C. It's going to get discovered by an alarm bot if they keep pushing forward. That's going to allow Jazz to be readied up, but with a Bulldog here, see what happens.
Oh, this is tremendous. But why a 1v1? There were so many players there to help out Kaide. Get a refrag here as well. Jazz getting the jiggle peek through. Not hitting anything as of yet, but still. Okay, I mean, listen, if you win it out with the Classic, it's good enough for me.
For sure. Here's the other line of defense, an off angle by Amy.
Yeah, contesting this, Amy. Oh, silence! They don't even see it. They're still waiting, but looking for the shots. Calculating which one's going to be the best one, and right now, it's all of them. Amy making the dream happen for this team of Shift. I mean, overall, listen, they had the advantage from the start with the weapons down inside of their arsenal, but it seems like right now, with the player advantage, they have it as well. Tupperware trying to fare out as much as they can. And a possible save coming through here with the Bulldog, keeping this for the next round. Okay, well, you know, I'm retired.
No way that happened. No way that happened. I mean, at the end of the day, that becomes a really good eco. Oh, I mean, this backstab was perfect from Amy, but the 2 players dying after towards the spike and spawn. Look at the economy after that. There was so much invested in that second round. Now you have to play small shields and 2 vandals. Even often to go for utility instead of the vandal here onto Cud, so that we could actually try to maximize at least a plant into the round. That's so unfortunate. And Quarter Jade is going to hear all of this.
Oh, yep, leaving up into this moment. I mean, they leave Quarter Jade with absolutely no space to come up down inside of sewers. Nothing to fight for it. But leaving no occupied over towards C is a bit scary. It seems like a mid fight is scary as well. I mean, a TP to fake things out for Jas, but no comfort there.
Cycling around towards the C site. Kaide is going to try to play a delay with the paranoia. Threw it a little bit too early, but still gets the off angle. Moves inside the site.
Ooh, looking like a lot of struggle here, but Kaide takes the shots. Already looking good, and Tupperware is up on it. Everything. So far, the lack of control for Shift in this moment is big. But then again, right, we're not having that equal buy. There is a bit of a disadvantage there.
Definitely. And that's the best thing you could expect for, you could hope for there with the fumble that you had on the previous round for Shift and then getting 2 kills off the share. It's like, okay, at least we've done something to try to even up the playing field into the later rounds. You're not trailing too far behind, only 3 rounds behind DSG right now. Finally able to bring our economy back to a point where we could at least have a rifle round and an ult available for Jas, but it doesn't really look like they want to go for an explosion into the A site yet. I'm going to try to prod to see if there's going to be aggression coming out from DSG first by putting a turret towards grass. On DSG's end, Quarter J is just looking for the aggression. Got pushed earlier on, looks for that pick. Oh, but dashes in the wrong side.
Yeah, feeling comfortable here, though, because Tenzin watching their back. So they're going to try to fight this heavily with confidence if they must. They have to be aware and ready. Unfortunately, Crosshair a bit too close. Down towards those boxes, missing out on the shot.
Yeah. A little bit too high. And I felt like at some point it was like, oh man, are they actually going to not aftershock it to just make sure that we clear that corner? But thankfully, it's going to be Ellie that gets the pick. I mean, she had her own dash that was available too, so I could see it coming out from the jet instead of trying to use util. You could save that util for something later as Shift are looking to literally shift towards this B site, break this alarm bot. That initiates a smoke towards outside the B main.
30
Might
seconds
look like
left.
running into a C where there's 2 players there. Just one smoke, you're putting players into Kaide once again, where she's been on point behind his default.
You should
Even has one ways. Love it.
Yeah, I'm actually really liking this one way as well. Peeking right into that flash, but still watching it alongside City on the synergy again. Something we continuously look for, but the lockdown coming in time. Kaide coming to back themselves off. But you got a 3-person retake that could come through 3 seconds. It's not enough. It's not enough. They win this. No. What? Okay.
Why did you reload? Why did you have your Vandal out? Why did you run out into the C site when there was a lockdown? The lockdown just got put down and you ran into the C. Anyways. Nice defensive play from Kaide. I'll put it at that.
Oh, gosh.
Last player.
I'm actually pretty surprised.
I get it though. There was 30 seconds left. I mean, they did a great job for Shift to really keep players out towards the A site. The initial pick, the pick that you got towards the A site, kept those players anchored towards the A site. All of it was really well done until those last few seconds where I think you get the nerves. The nerves gets the best of you.
Yeah, but looking to put those nerves behind them. It seems like Shift recovering from a moment like that one. Tupperware a bit too strong coming down over towards Sewers. Again, playing with her own util, but Allie looking good from the back. Getting so much to be able to help Shift down inside of this post-plant scenario.
Hawk out.
All right, redemption in the end.
Yeah.
And for DSG too, like they're still looking okay for the econ. To get at least some sort of a half buy on Quarter G unless she's got Blade Storms ready, but this is a great way to shift the economy back in your favor. You can get a couple of these traits.
Actually trying to pick off an angle too. Kaide put in the smoke. Nice and centered, squared around default. They still back off. I mean, this is the best call for their circumstance as of right now. Not worth fighting a fight, especially when the spike's about to go down anyway.
All right. This is at least something that I like here coming out from Shift. Despite a fumble that you had on that previous round, maintaining the composure, getting a nice little execution into the A site. still have some great fundamentals into the pulse plant. You saw the delays from utility after utility, right? A smoke waiting a couple of seconds, then okay, 3 seconds later, throw the paranoia, delay even longer, getting another smoke out, getting a crossfire set up towards hell in default. So there's still some good nerves that comes in for Shift in the end to just answer back and not let that fluster them for that previous mistake. So going into the gun round here, change of pace here for DSG, choosing to play a lot more aggressively because there was no pressure coming in from Sewers at Tupperware's position. So even Quarter J doesn't need to activate her dash yet. And they're setting up for a trap play on the A side. And while it's being very quiet, all of Shift is currently working towards C to make some noise and start working right into this trap setup from DSG.
Oh, but DSG, they've moved up, Vans. They knew exactly what was going to happen. They've
moved up
diverted
and
their
they're falling
attention.
away. They've fallen away at the minute mark. So their first contact is not on the Silva anymore. They can't do a Rolling Thunder pick.
Oh, it doesn't matter, the paranoia. Actually, a paranoia wasted there coming out from Kaide. Now they have to fight around the back with the spray and the blind. A bit too much coming down towards that CT side. They're going to have to try to fight this down towards Connector. Ellie, though, feeling a bit confident. And again, right, Shift, they're starting to find their foot down inside of this game, understanding the path that they have to take for that victory.
Got one.
Yeah, but Tupperware rotated towards spawn. She could actually ult inside B2 to allow Tenzin to move into A. Well, you have 2 players lurking back towards the front B site.
And from B side, okay.
Remaining.
I mean, already the fight's breaking out with DSG a bit too low when it comes to players down inside of the roster. Yeah, DSG, I mean, they're slowly letting it go.
Yeah. Letting it go, but the gamble was there too. It looks like Tupperware was thinking that after the Rolling Thunder that came out from Amy, there was going to be a lot of Shift players towards that C link. So she wanted to fight back at least in that area to delay so that the other players could pinch in from the A link and also from front B. But little did they know that it only affected 1 player. 2 players playing inside Bunny for Shift on the pulse plant. Became much easier kills for them to catch DSG on a rotate where they didn't clear that Bunny corner. So we taught the economy being very good for DSG for a couple of rounds, but losing the last few now puts Shift back until that happens from Tupperware. What a shot.
And they're still trying to shoot it too. They won out the first fight. The confidence comes back. It's Quarter Jade's turn. They said, listen, I'm not giving you all the spotlight here. It's a team where everybody has to make some type of play to win this out. I mean, Kaide has the opportunity to peek around down in garage and get the shot. They're slowly working their way up, especially Kaide as well. Oh, the tension, it's starting to run thick, Vans. I don't know what to do with it. The smoke already coming down.
Looking for a timing to try to maybe jump out off the tap of a spike. But just around the corner, a Paranoid comes in here. A retake comes across. Oh my god.
Spike down B.
Yeah, Tupperware is a monster, it seems like, with the Guardian, keeping that in their hand. Down inside of their left-hand pocket, just in case they needed to whip it out at any moment. Cod lucky to get some shots, but Tupperware understanding the situation, shooting down behind that box.
What a round. This was supposed to be a win coming in where, you know, you're finally finding some wind under the sails for Shift to really try to narrow that gap, narrow that lead that DSG has built up from the beginning of this game. And then you see Tupperware move in the way that she did with that Guardian, a wallbang onto the last one. Heroic plays by herself as the IGL, dropping 20 into this round, catching up to Ellie, who's been really on point since the first half, quieted down a little bit on the second one. So to me, it shows that maybe first Shift, they're really trying to work more as a unit and getting, you know, these rounds as a team more than just individualistic plays that Ellie was doing with the operator before. But off that win, it was a great win to gain the momentum back for DSG, and also a timeout to like stop the huge excitement that you got off the Thrifty and really try to maintain your composure, bring that composure back to close in this series.
Yeah, to do that too is going to be pretty hard. I feel like Shift has really been stepping up that momentum down on the attack. They've been pushing heavy and hard. So when it comes down to it, DSG, they're going to have to take control of all of that aggression, really push it back on them.
Yep. And a timeout that was used out for DSG actually could be used very well for Shift. What can you do with the Seekers that you currently have here? You're going to try to ult towards the back of a C site hit too. But instead, they're looking to run a little bit of pressure towards the A-Toke to start. A blinded ult coming out from Tenzin. And that's a great start.
Ooh.
This is a great opportunity to cut noise here for Shift right after. Because as you ping nobody, you have no information of where the attackers are. So you have to start using even more utility. Look at that recall that already came out much earlier than other timings until Tupperware gets that kill.
Yeah, luckily enough for DSG, Tupperware and their patience actually paid off here. Hunter's Fury, it led Tupperware able to cut noise of her own, sit there, wait for a moment to strike out, but the Seekers giving away information. They're going to see 2 players are left stuck on C. Now they're going to know exactly how to fight this as it starts moving around down towards back of site. You can see Amy trying to push for that as well.
Yeah. And you're lucky, you're counting your lucky stars that the 2 flashes finally forced it in to fall back, where it was the right call for the fall back from the very beginning because the lockdown's ready. But a counter ult comes back on the attack too, as Jess had it inside the C cubby. So it's going to be a heroic play here from Cut in the back of the site. Off angle. There's one.
Already making the effort to need it down towards the back of that corner. Unfortunately, missing out on the shot. So you leave Shift down inside of a scenario where they're hiding down in those extremities. But I'm liking this. You see Ari might get spotted out by some of that utility. Actually, no.
Last player
It's
standing.
down. At this point, they just shoot for it. They keep the pings there. Ari working up, but it's not up to DSG to make a decision right now as to whether or not they're going to be able to get that point on the board.
A nice answer back too, and Kaide dying into the spike too. Look at the economy they currently have from DSG. It's not the best. It's not going to be the best for everybody unless we have some Blade Storms, which you don't have available. Sorry, for Quarter Jade. So let's shift it back to the conversation on the attack side though, on how that panned out on that A side control. Very well done, as you mentioned. Tupperware, yes, got an off angle for a kill, but you had numbers there for Shift for a perfect trade. Keep some players out towards the A site. And that utility that came out from Amy to really allow Shift to get into the site and play a post plant and not allow, once again, DSG to clear out the right corners when they're retaking the site. They're always getting the upper hand out of those ones, but they're playing the pulse plants here for Shift. For this round, it changes. A huge dash into the site. Another one of those moments here where it's a Guardian for Tupperware and a lower buy for DSG, but they're already all stacked up here towards the garage to move out towards C.
Oh, and it doesn't matter. They peek out blindly through the smoke. Just really fragging up on this moment, and it's still another one left and right. Just continuously fragging.
Tarek was watch part in this chat or this game right now. He'd be saying we got a game in our hands. 10-11. Shift has turned things over here on the attack. We mentioned it before. It looked like it was very one-sided for DSG to start things off of how they played the attack, but salvaging those last 3 rounds to make it 8-4 at the end of the half and taking it at attacker side this time, having the amount of utility you have on the double initiator to allow Ellie to move in the way that she does, it's looking really good for Shift. And as we've talked about Shift having issues on the retakes when they were playing the defense, DSG's starting to show a little bit of that as well.
Yeah, and it really is that lack of creds, overall economy, leaving DSG in moments like these where it can't really suffice too much. This is the last moment to fight for it. I mean, economy low, possibly gonna have to save the next round. Jazz still fighting it out, waiting patiently, nicely, but the Rolling Thunder to assist. It's nice off Tenzin to continue through an assist for DSG.
Last player standing.
Oh, it's never ending. Tenzin again. Consistent 3Ks across the board. A stun coming through from Connector. And Cud left alone, fighting this out. The one tap, it's through. But a 1v1, the Flash flashing themselves. But listening in, the defusal. It's coming too quick, and it's over. Tenzin was the winner and the MVP of this round for sure.
Match point.
What a nice try there for a Shift. I love the first kill that Jazz got because the kill inside the window forced out such an early Rolling Thunder out from DSG that could have been used out towards B main. But you saw the follow-up on that utility coming out from Tupperware. That aftershock that really forced those players outside garage. It's just nice utility from DSG on that retake. Despite the first kill that came out from Jas, and all the other duels that didn't pay out in favor of Shift at all. But I love it. We're still trying to fight with confidence for Shift, but unfortunately, it gets punished early. A different look that we've seen from DSG. One of the rare moments that we're pushing outside towards Silong. Got caught off guard for this one. That's already your alert potential gone.
Just
wait.
had to sit there.
It's not, it didn't get spotted. Oh, but she's still ulting away, unlucky.
Yeah, Ari was a bit too scared to fight that, but honestly, best case scenario, right? Having some of that discipline and understanding when you need to walk away.
Not ready yet.
Ellie has an op on the attack too, and didn't really look back behind her when she got away, so you have a double flank coming out from DSG on the whole line.
I've got your trail.
Oh, nice Seekers. Actually being expended into this round.
Traveling.
Get out of my way.
Looking over towards DSG. And a good round at that. I mean, they have so much split up into this moment. At this point, DSG lacking the information. Ellie doesn't understand that there's a bit more to be careful of than just what's going on down inside of Heaven. Cod takes a 2K and another dash in. It's up to them to continue, and it's done.
The initiators are popping off in this game, this time for Cud of Shift. It looked like it was going to be game over. We never identified the flanker behind because the updraft that came out from Ellie was knocked out in the air already from Tupperware. So you still had a timing for Quarter Jade to go for the flank. Until she wins that fight against Ari, it allows Cud to get into that position and ready to get that last kill for the Red Bull clutch. What a kill, what a clutch coming in. And they have a chance here to bring this into overtime because our economy's in shambles right now for DSG. It's a much lower buy. They only have 2 rifles. Shift understands this, and they're just rushing into the C site.
Just a really big weakness for this team of DSG, seeming like it's the defense they're gonna have to fix it up with. I mean, another round like that to happen would be devastating, but what's devastating right now is the missed shots down with the Hunter's Fury.
That's so
You're
good.
Missing out on that opportunity, and the lockdown comes down, so Shift, they just know how to take advantage.
Exactly. The Hunter's Fury was used to deny the plant instead of breaking the lockdown, so you're wasting the clock down even more. This position has been huge before for other players. Our response a few.
Oh, Cud is aware. Cud last time, I mean, the aim is solid, and they continue. A flash coming down towards the back of sight, down inside of smoke. They slowly work it up, and it's another, and left alone is Kaide. They have to get the defusal. I mean, it's not enough time at this point, right? The ticking coming down, but they're staking it. Is it possible? And it is, but Jas makes the effort and pushes themselves forward.
I was so scared because I was
Switching
watching
sides.
Jazz just reload one
Overtime.
close to the smoke. But they get it done. They get it done in the end, and Shift are able to push us into overtime. And where they had a lot of confidence playing on the defense first, having Ellie on that operator, you just saw it before this replays. It seems as though they're going to go for a glass cannon op for the first round of defense that they have here for Shift. A potential to take the lead and potentially bring it to a third map, where it would put the analyst desk at the wrong. I heard the predictions. But let's not count our chickens before they hatch.
Yeah.
This is an important
man.
round here. As Ellie's looking for an early pick inside Garage, something that hasn't been done yet throughout this whole game.
Ooh, an interruption there. The door coming in the way of Ellie, not wanting them to leave. I feel like at this point the door's match fixing because DSG got a couple shots down. Oh no, but the entry's most worrying. They didn't even check behind the side, but Quarter still though getting some of the shots down, not even checking up above. It's up to Ari to continue. I mean, this is where the intensity starts for DSG. Listen, 1v2, but we've seen what this team can do of Shift. They've clutched up rounds like these before. Not even checking behind, though. What is going on? The Rolling Thunder came through before Tupperware was aware.
Switching
Oh, she
sides.
thought somebody was towards
Match
Heaven
point.
too when the Rolling Thunder was behind her. Unlucky on that one, and it looks so good to start things out there for a Shift. That initial play to come out towards Garage, I loved it because that's one of those things that, you know, DSG probably wasn't really ready for. because it hasn't been done on defense. Then you had Ari on the top of the boxes, corners not being cleared, she gets a 2K. Everything was done perfectly to just play a whole different type of defense that got shut down by DSG towards the end. Map point, series point this time in favor of DSG, looking to close it towards a B site push.
And it's always the defense that they get stuck on. Vans, they have to figure out, you know, what that retake is going to look like down towards B site. But, you know, we haven't seen that B site too heavily for Shift. At this point, it's a difference in momentum. It's a change in pace, but it's Ori again making this and making a save for the team of Shift.
Huge flash.
Yeah, a big continuation of the fight. Tupperware. Make sure how they continue to get these shots down for DSG. This might be it and the moment. Hey, you were trashing on the analyst desk, but it seems like right now, I was a bit afraid there that Jas was going to get another right now in this moment. It's DSG. We give some leeway to Dan for now.
Defenders win.
Oh, DSG winning the series after an OT nail biter there. It looks so good for how we pushed towards that ceiling to fight. I thought that flash that came out here from Tupperware and then the first pick from Amy was like, wait, how did that happen? How did that still happen there for Shift? We could have potentially seen a double OT at that point, but Tupperware, the way that she entered on that, it ends up being DSG just clawing back and fighting back and be able to win that series.
The last couple seconds, I mean, that's really where it stood in DSG. They were really good under that pressure, and they played immensely. To be quite frank with you, Vansili, listen, I don't even know it felt like the last couple seconds was on X Games mode. Like, we saw shots being fired left and right, 3Ks and clutches in the last couple of seconds, the Red Bull clutches. I'm a bit overwhelmed.
Yeah, I think it's one of those nice moments where once you get into the overtime, that's where the nervousness gets to you, and you're just like, okay, well, sometimes maybe some players will make some mistakes here and there. Some players really shine under that type of pressure, and we've seen that from Tupperware. I've also seen it as well from the other side here of Shift. I still really liked what I saw in the OT from Ari. A lot of players really tried to step up to the plate and really try to bring this into a third map. I gave the Caster's Curse. We're not able to see that third map after all, but I still think that Shift put a very good fight.
All right, and I thought they had a very good fight as well. Listen, for DSG and their first showing, this is the best that we could have had in our first game of this Open Qualifiers. But what's even better than our beautiful analyst desk? Let's head over to them.
Thank you so much, casters. That was an absolutely phenomenal showing here for DSG. I will say my hand never waved. It was not shaking. I called the 2-0. Dryad, so did you, right? We're feeling good over here. Walls up against Tanner. Talk to me about it.
Yeah, you know, I have a couple words to say to Vans. It was directly calling us out for saying it was going to be 2-0 for DSG. And yeah, sure, it went to overtime, but it was a 2-0 at the end of the day. Obviously, Haven is a map that is so back and forth between the two teams. The composition so similar. So we knew it was going to go to the distance even after the momentum was how it started for both of the teams. But hey, it's a 2-0 for DSG, and for all the fans of all these players, that's all that you can ask for.
And I do want to mention that this was a completely different look. The defensive sided Jet here in LE for Shift X looked insane. And then we swapped sides. Jas was having a good game. Cud was having a good game. We get this here from Amy. Haven definitely suited this Shift X team a little bit better. And this just takes me back to the very first note that I wrote down. That was Shift X needed momentum coming into this game because they're coming off of a tough loss on Icebox, and they somehow flub that very first pistol round where they retake the site beautifully, but they don't clear out towards long. They don't clear that smoke. The pistol round eventually ends up going the way of DSG, and then you take a look at this game and you see, you know, we're deep in overtime, and you'd love to have that round back.
And on top of that, I know in map number 1, we talked a lot about that Reyna from Tupperware, but let's talk about that Breach as well, because so much support for that team, so much individual support for herself as well, and the way that she was getting those kills over and over again. I mean, what a dream to have an IGL like this one. And yeah, again, it went to the distance, but they're able to close it into.
And this hurts looking at the stats, right, Dryad? You lose the game, but you have more first bloods. That just means you have things to go back and shore up. And when you're finding these early advantages and finding ways how to keep them, that's obviously, it's a stat that we see a lot where a team will have majority first bloods, but eventually end up losing the game because they throw some of their slight advantages. And it's hard not to throw an advantage, excuse me, when Tupperware was doing Tupperware things. You mentioned the breach and 312 combat score, 29 and 15, pretty darn good. But what stood out to me the most was the way that if it wasn't the way that Tupperware was playing in the eco and swing rounds, it was the way that she was piloting the team in an eco round where they're playing strength in numbers and they're finding kills with classics because they're not just doing it, you know, one by one in onesies and twosies, as I like to say. Or even that round where she has the Guardian. She's out towards mid, throws that flash from B, picks up 3 kills on the round. The rounds that really mattered, that were coming down to the wire, is obviously what separated these two teams.
It is the individual skill in every way possible and really understanding what needs to be done. Obviously, Jade sometimes struggling to get that entry because of how well the utility was countering it and making it so much more difficult. So that's when Tupperware was stepping up, and obviously the impact of this breach player with the Rolling Thunder that we saw over and over again, especially in the second half when things got a little bit scarier and you had that to retake and make it easier for DSG.
Absolutely. And I mean, you touched up on it, both of you, as far as like their performance from both map number 1, map number 2. What a great 2-0 coming into this. They do have to prepare for, a bit of a Goliath team coming up next on their bracket here. And that would be Evil Geniuses. And I'm curious, DSG has to be feeling good with this win, right? So I'm going to ask this question for you, Tanner. I made a note even because we pointed it out. The, Tupperware, you said put a lid on it. I'm going to put another cooking pun, let Tupperware cook. They've won most of their pistol rounds on the, playing very aggressive. And it's just allowing Tupperware to just kind of get warmed up, show that presence. Are we going to expect DSG to continue doing that coming into this EG matchup, or should they switch it around a little bit?
I definitely think that this next matchup, I think DSG will look a little bit more measured. I think what we saw in this first one is it's the second seed versus the third seed is I think what it eventually broke out to. So DSG feeling like they were the better team. They come into this one better seeded. So they kind of played that way. They played aggressive. They played to take angles. I think what they tried to do, and I'm sure this was kind of the I guess, for lack of a better term, what Ruin may have been saying to the team in that I'm doing ventriloquism, don't mind me. But hold on.
I was gonna say
ventriloquism there for a second. I think basically what the idea was is, hey, go into this first game and play it like you would in scrims, because it's so hard to emulate the success you find in scrims in official matches. So I think they'll be a bit more measured against Evil Geniuses. I think this first game, though, was them really just going out, being aggressive, putting it all out on the line to just shake it all off and be ready for, the Titans that they do have to face next.
Pride, do you feel the same way as far as like how they are going to be facing off against EG coming into this with DSG? Just go with what they're comfortable with, or coming in with more out-of-pocket stuff, perhaps?
It's going to be a little bit more of that comfort. And honestly, the most impressive thing about this team is their ability to adapt so fast and on the fly. Part of it is because of the IGL, the coach as well. But even every single one of the individual players, like we've been talking about in the past couple weeks, couple days, we've seen them trying to learn lineups, trying to learn abilities, trying to learn agents, look stronger. And look at the way that they were able to do it, closing out 2 maps against a team that had more practice in that competitive scene and going into Game Changers Academy and Game Changers even from last year. You're able to do that step by steps, and that really shows the improvement, the growth, and also how much they're willing and they really, really want to win.
Very well said, and I completely agree with all of that. So with that, for now, we do have some Prime Gaming highlights coming your way as we get ready for the post-match interview, as well as a series number 2 for the day. So for now, we'll have a break and we'll catch you on the other side.
One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. enemy remaining. Clutch. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. One enemy. One enemy remaining. Last player standing. One enemy remaining. Defenders win.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Valorant Game Changers presented to you by Verizon. We have the Verizon post-match interview, and I'm so excited to be bringing on Tupperware from DSG. Big congratulations to you for this phenomenal debut performance with DSG. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I think I'm overall just like so proud of the ladies. I think the hard work that they've been putting in is really showing off in this first matchup, so I'm very excited.
Yeah, I mean, I love that you said that because DSG, you all have been doing something very different. You've been sharing your scrims and your practices through the various like players' perspectives, and it's so noticeable how much hard work has been putting in. Now, specifically for you, since I have you here, you switched into the IGL role so new. You've been rocking that breach. What has been the most difficult thing so far with this new role and new position?
Definitely just the concept of IGLing as a whole. I didn't pick it up until a week ago. Whenever we started streaming our scrims, that's really when I started getting into it. So it's been really difficult trying to like understand how to put all the puzzle pieces together and stuff. But I feel like I'm working pretty like through it pretty efficiently. And of course, like role wise, I love playing just about any role as long as I get to compete. It's a fun time.
I was actually going to say we were a bit surprised with that Reyna first pick on. I saw it on you, not typically something that I would see on a IGL position, but I do want to say that you did very well on that, so that was so great to watch.
Thank you.
Kind of corralling and being the IGL of players that have not necessarily had that competitive experience under their belt. What like has been like the pros and cons that you've experienced with working with them?
The thing about the group of ladies that I'm playing with is that they're all so open to understanding like the side of the competitive scene. So they're all, you know, we load into a server and they're like, Lydia, tell me exactly where to go. Tell me what to play. Tell me when to push. Tell me exactly when you want me to peek. And they're so okay with like being microed to the point to where they understand those things naturally at this point. So day one, it used to be, okay, I'm going to flash this. You're going to instantly swing because of XYZ. And now they're telling me when they want that utility. They're telling me how they want to play. And it's really, really like refreshing to see that because it just shows how much hard work they've been putting in as well outside of the scrims and outside of the server. And it's super, super nice to see. So there's definitely just a ton of pros, you know, they're working so hard in and out of the server, in and out of stream. But I'm very thankful to like have such a like great hardworking group of players to be playing with this GC.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, things I love to hear, right? Now, you're going to be facing Evil Geniuses next up. How do you typically like reset after, I mean, I would call it like a very intense match. You went into overtime over in Haven, prepare the mental, not just for yourself, but essentially since you are the IGL, the leader of this roster who are new to experiencing this competitiveness, how do you transition them into, hey, we're coming into another series of the day, it's not done yet?
I think that is the main thing to know, like, hey, like, congrats, we won that first matchup. Even after we won map one, like, hey, we're still in it and we still have to close this out. It's not over until it's over. So it's kind of that mental reset and realizing we have another BO3 to play and we know the skill of EG. We know like what they like the strengths and weaknesses of that team as well. So it's just a matter of being able to play our own game and just play to our strengths and hope that it hits some of their weaknesses.
Oh, exactly. And you know, before I let you go, I do have two more questions here. I guess the first one would be, I did hear like Ruin, your coach, like talking about and giving like a nice speech last night during like one of your scrimming sessions. For yourself, as you're progressing here, I mean, obviously I expect you to have high expectations for yourself and for this roster. Is it too far-fetched to ask like how deep do you think this run is going to go with the performances that you have so far?
I genuinely think if they keep believing in themselves and don't let them get out of touch with like the game going on, because of course it's super, super stressful whenever you load into a server and everyone has that org in front of their name and you know the skill caliber that you're competing against. So as long as they stay true to themselves and how they know how to play, I genuinely believe we can make it pretty far. Knowing the girls outside in their own element and in their own comfortability, I think that we're easily a top 10 team just based on their raw skill alone. So it's just a matter of getting them to believe that and acting on that. But I definitely think we're going to make it a lot farther than a lot of people think.
I love it, and I'm rooting for you all the way to continuously prove that. And final words, our shout outs that you have before I let you go.
I would like to shout out all of my teammates, Jody, Kaede, Tenzin, Sid. Y'all are amazing. Ruin, you're an amazing coach. And Toast, thank you so much for this opportunity. I love all of you and appreciate you all so, so much. Thank you.
And thank you as well, Tupperware, for joining us here at the Verizon post-match interview. And good luck in your next games. And I hope to see you in the top 10, as you call it.
Thank you so much.
Of course. That was such a great interview, and I'm so excited that we got to hear from Tupperware over at DSG. Congratulations once again to them. And with that, we're going to have another break as we get ready for series number 2. So sit back, relax, and we'll see you on the other side.
Red Bull gives you wings.
What is this from EA? He is currently unstoppable. He is just a consistent demon. El Diablo.
Hey guys, it's EA. Welcome to my course on optimal VALORANT training. I'm going to be demonstrating now some angle clearing. I'll slowly come around the corner as well, making sure no one's on these off angles.